Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
Hello, beautiful people. Anyone hearing the sound of my voice or seeing the beauty of the blackness on this screen? It's your host, Tosin Richard of I Love My HBCU ? And if you are watching, you know, professionally, you are regarded as Chef Redbeard, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
But I told myself that, I told him before we started recording that I was going to say his name. He's laughing, guys. That I was going to say his name the way it is supposed to be pronounced, and it is Jourdan Davis.
That is correct. That is correct.
And listen, so guys, those who listen, if you hear me say Jourdan, yes, everybody else is going to call him Jordan. But if you hear me say Jourdan several times and you feel like we're being pretentious, that's fine. I love the actual pronunciation of his name. So chances are I am going to call him Jourdan several times. So, Jourdan, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Tosin. How are you?
I can't complain. We're recording this in, Lord have mercy, January, and it's freezing cold. So other than the fact that it is freezing cold, I'm doing absolutely amazing. I've never had the pleasure of having just a free-flowing conversation with a chef without them being in service with me. So this is a treat. And those who know me well know I actually don't like food that much. And I think food is functional. I hope you guys are looking, because the look on his face when I said that is like, are you effing kidding me? So wait. For somebody that does not like food that much, we're about to talk a lot about food intentionally, because I do think that you could help me out.
I believe so.
With regards to why Tosin does not like food. So we're going to get to that in a hot second. Why cooking? Why cuisine? What drew you into that art form?
The sights, the sounds, the smells, the community that is around food. I come from a very small, close-knit family where food is always something that we gathered around. And so being so connected to people through food has always been a passion of mine. The alchemy of creating something from an assortment of ingredients to present a dish has always been the science that wowed me.
That's impressive. I wasn't expecting that response, but B, I wrote down sights, sounds, smells. I'm going to get to community in a hot second, because I think community might be expected. But I don't think, I know I haven't heard anyone describe it that way with regards to the sights, the sounds, and the smells. I get the smells. Walk me through the sounds.
The sounds very early on in elementary school years, I would travel to the farmers market, Eastern market, the local markets with my grandparents, with my parents, hand in tow, and the chatter of the fishmonger at the wharf in Southwest, or the butcher, like having communication or conversations about what type of cut this is, or why this particular cut is in the market and not in the grocery store. The sound of the blade saw cutting through, bone and meat, as opposed to, just the ticking of the gas flame on the stove. Like, there are more. Every day you kind of hear these things, but you tone them out. But as a chef, you kind of tune in. Now, in my 30 plus years of service in culinary, I can tell when a pilot is out just by how it's ticking, or the oven's not blowing right. I can hear something off in the fan of the motor. So that just comes from years of being in the industry, up against equipment or, you know, timing, a mental thing, something doesn't sound right. So if it doesn't sound right, it must not be cooking right. And those two things just kind of go hand in hand with other skill sets.
You said if it doesn't sound right, it's not cooking right. I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm writing that down. If it doesn't, I'm so serious. If it doesn't sound right, it's not cooking right. As you were describing that, it's hard for me not to imagine you as a conductor, like a
Yeah,
musical
yeah,
conductor.
that's what it
And
is.
that's okay, okay, okay.
That's perfect.
So that's perfect. I love it. I love it. Okay, Tosin. Okay, you're getting this, even though you don't really like food that much, you're getting this. So, as somebody who is a conductor of all of these things, do you play music while you're cooking?
In my head, mentally, there is music playing. For me, there's certain types of music that I can play for certain events. If I'm doing a one-off catering event, typically there's a DJ or there's some type of music. So that is what the guest has for their event. So you can kind of tune that out or tune into that. If I'm cooking at home, I'll definitely turn some music on. Again, the types of music, the genre kind of helps, whether it's calming or, you know, upbeat, up tempo, because of how how fast paced the environment could be in the kitchen. You might want to slow it down on the metronome, on the tick, 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 tick. You don't want something that's so upbeat. It puts you, you know, in this big rage of I have to go, go, go. Sometimes you just want to slow down. I really love listening to old jams, slow music when I'm prepping. But if
Mm,
I'm cooking, if I'm
mm.
grilling, if I'm in the heat of it, I want something really up tempo. Again, I'm a native of Washington, D.C., so go go music, live percussion, that is something that really drives it in. But if I'm teaching, if I'm coaching, if I have new cooks in the kitchen, we kind of limit the music.
So, if you watched my face while you were talking, I had all these different expressions, and I've been told that my face speaks a lot. So I want to clue you in into some of the thoughts I was having while you were talking.
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, I hope surgeons are listening to Jourdan speak. So my brother's a surgeon, and when he wants to calm himself down, everything you just described is what he does. I'm not kidding. In the kitchen. In the kitchen. And there is a synergy, if you will,
Yeah.
with regards to what you do and what some high impact, high intensity professions are. And I wonder if anybody else is going to hear it. So when this premieres, I'm calling out for all the medical practitioners out there. I'm curious to hear how well they relate to exactly what you just said. Now, this is I love my HBCU question mark. That's the podcast that we're on. And I'm you're like, why let me bring this home. I tell my students that there's some things they do not need a college degree for. And you're gonna find out very shortly that Jourdan, I keep calling you Jourdan because I love it. Um,
Please do.
he said, please do. That Jourdan is a graduate of Bowie State University. And
Absolutely.
it reminds me of a couple of students that I spoke to who will be entering college soon. And one of them is sure, she's very sure that she wants to be a chef.
Okay.
There you go. To the parents. Are you ready for this, Jourdan?
I'm
Yes,
ready.
you are?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
To the parents who say that if you're going to be a chef, just go and cook, as opposed to going to college to get a degree first, what do you say to them?
My experience and the experience that I've had as a chef who hires, who trains other cooks looking to become a chef, college has been an exponential help for me as a chef. Time management, interpersonal relationship skills, uh, creating and fostering friendships and relationships. It's not only what you learn in the classroom, it's the application outside of the classroom. I was so fortunate to have strong parental guidance to this day, but specifically in college, not only talking to my professors or my peers, but the janitor, the lunch lady, as they were called back then, some of the cooks there who weren't necessarily chefs and weren't on the career trajectory that I was looking for, but having conversations with them about food service. I have a wealth of knowledge that I can keep in my pocket from experiences that they've had in different types of food service. Not everyone is going to be the top chef. Not everybody aspires to be a top
Yeah.
chef. Cooking is, we're all in the service industry and hospitality. So being able to lead, being able to serve, I think that college, I was in student government, so I served the student body. It's something that is in you. I think college, the university, the weekends, literally all of this pertains to outside of the classroom. What you learn in the classroom is what you learn. That is for your knowledge and how you grow. But outside of the classroom, the environment that my HBCU and other HBUs foster for these students is something that cannot be replaced.
I'm going to leave it there. I'm not adding a single word to your response because I don't, A, I don't have the experience. B, I don't think anybody could say it better. I really don't. There's what you learn in the classroom, but then there's the life experience that you actually get in college as well. So, Jourdan, I'm going to throw the rapid fire segment at you. Have you seen our rapid fires yet?
No, I have not. I'm with it. Let's go. You
Okay,
don't
let's
scare me.
go. Okay.
I'm a
All right, are you
bulldog.
ready?
Let's go.
He's a bulldog. He's ready.
Yes.
Doc President Bro, do you hear this? He's a bulldog. He's ready. Okay. All right. So 67 seconds on the clock. Jourdan, describe your HBCU experience in one word.
Immaculate.
Immaculate. That's a new one. That's a new one. If your time in college was your favorite restaurant, what restaurant would it be?
This is funny. It's called the Gold Room because it was in Bowie. They had some of the best food I've ever had in my life to this date. The
I
Gold
love
Room.
it. I love it. Now, since we pair food with music and he is a specialist conductor, if your time in college was a song, what song would it be?
Moment in Life, Music Soul Child with Kendrick the Family Soul.
Ooh, this is why I love when we get alumni. No offense to the students, but this is what I love when we get alumni on the show. Because when I tell you the music you guys suggest, amazing. Okay, Tosin, stop eating up his time. If you remember, not just the Gold Room, you gave us the restaurant, but if you remember, what was your favorite meal in college?
Oh, Sodexo Wings.
Sodexo wings.
Sodexo
Okay.
Wings.
Okay, Sodexo wing. Okay. I was just told that my time's up, but I always do this. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions just for the fun of it. Shout out your favorite professor or person at your HBCU.
Everybody will get mad at me. So everybody who made an impact in my life at Bowie State University as an admin, because there are too many to name. Too many
Okay.
to name. And you know who you are.
Okay. 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 I like that. I like that. That's fair. I like that.
A little diplomacy. A little diplomacy.
A little, not a little, a lot of diplomacy. A lot. He's like, you're not getting mad at me. No. What would you have wanted to tell your college roommate but didn't?
I appreciate you.
Do you feel like saying your college roommate's name?
No, he already knows.
He already
Christian,
knows.
Lyman, Rizzo. I mean, we talk. We got a
I
wedding
appreciate
scheduled
you.
for
That's
June.
beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay, so Jourdan, I have not called you Jordan once. Jourdan.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so silly. Lord help me. Um, you're from Washington, D.C.
Born and
You could have
raised,
gone
North
to
East.
you could have gone to Howard University. You could have gone to UDC. You could have gone to Morgan State University. You could have gone to Coppin. You have a plethora of options, not just for HBCUs, but for colleges. Why Bowie?
This is no longer rapid fire, right? I can
No, no,
elaborate.
no, 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 please. No,
Okay.
no.
Uh, so my matriculation from high school was directly to culinary school. I had several friends who were two classes ahead of me that attended Bowie, and Southwest had a $99 round trip flight when I was in culinary school. So I would fly to Bowie on the weekends. So much so, faculty, staff, and students thought I attended Bowie 2 years before I actually transferred to Bowie. So I created and formed so many relationships with faculty and staff that when I did transfer, although I was in culinary, my credits didn't go over. I wasn't treated or viewed as a freshman. Uh, I was able to get housing that wasn't freshman housing. I was able to, do my schedule that made sense for someone as an upperclassman. Uh, and that transition just blossomed into staying extra. I'm staying through summer break. I'm staying through winter break. I did not want to leave Bowie State for any reason.
So it sounds as if Bowie enticed you. That's what it sounds like to
Oh,
me.
yeah. Oh, she was magical. She still is. 14,000 Jericho Park Road, Bowie, Maryland 20715 is the zip code. It is a very, very, very magical place.
How many people can rattle off the address of their institution that easily? That's insane. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Jourdan, that's that nobody has. So when you, and I'm closing my eyes intentionally, when you were
Mhm.
speaking about how and why Bowie, I saw Bowie as a person.
It
I didn't see,
is.
he's like, it is. I didn't, I didn't
It
see Bowie
is.
as a place. I saw Bowie, and that's why I said it sounds as if Bowie enticed you to it.
It's in our song, it's in our alma mater, but there is a spirit of Bowie, and the spirit of Bowie are the souls that are tied. There are so many connections and commitments and promises and oaths that were made at Bowie and kept. And so those people who even experience, people who never attended but experience, always have pleasant things to say about Bowie State University and the alum and the current students or former professors. There's so many adjunct professors that come from other universities and then get full time at Bowie because there's something so significant that is fostered on their campus. Like you said, it could have been Maryland, UDC, all these other schools. Visiting Bowie, it keeps you there.
It keeps you there. It keeps you there. I love it. Um, can we talk about food now?
Yes.
Absolutely. And you recall me telling you earlier on that I'm not a food person. I actually don't really like food that much. And I'm not looking at you directly because I don't want the judgment that your eyes are probably staring at me with judgment right now. Food is function to me. So if I did not need to eat to live, I probably wouldn't eat. Um, but it's a bit deeper than that, right? And the deeper part for me is Tosin, people are so gonna hate you, but it's okay. Um, I have problem with American food, and I have
Okay.
problems with. You nodded. Okay, thank you. I have problem with the sourcing of American food, and I don't want to
Okay.
politicize food, even though it's kind of impossible not to. As a chef, as somebody who this isn't just an art form for you. I just heard you say that you went to culinary right after high school and just happened to be enticed by Bowie State University afterwards, right? I heard you say that. So this is something that it sounds as if it was born within your soul to do this and to be around this no matter what. What's your take on the sourcing of if you run into somebody like Tosin who has watched all the documentaries, looks at the manner in which we treat and handle food production, food consumption in the United States of America, and they have a problem with that. What, and I know you're a chef. I know now I'm putting you on the other side of it, right? What's your take on it? How do you feel about the way we source and consume food in the United States of America?
Well, I'm a human. I'm compassionate for humans, for animals. Um, and being in this industry, I still too am a consumer. And so the sustainable, the ethical treatment of animals, raising animals, there's a lot of due diligence as a chef that is expected to be passed on to our guests when we are providing food. So I
Absolutely.
have outstanding relationships with food purveyors, my fishmongers, having conversations, in-depth conversations about where product is coming from, how it's
Mm,
sustainably or not sustainably harvested, what are the practices in, the cattle keeping, or free range, or all these industry terms, but what do they actually mean? What does this mean for your product? What does this mean for what I'm getting on the back end to serve my guests? What does this mean for myself? So there's, again, litigation, there is documentation, there is ordinances set up for categories of meat,
mm-hmm.
of produce, of fruits and vegetables. And so it has over the years been increasingly more challenging to find quality. However, it exists. You just have to know and utilize your resources. Have conversations. Are you looking for organic? What does organic mean for this particular thing? What does conventional mean? Uh, in short, local, sustainable is the best way for Americans to eat. Seasonally, locally, sustainably. We shouldn't be eating
Seasonably.
strawberries and melons in the winter.
But it's in the stores. But it's in the stores.
And so then we have to trace where it comes from. Is this being genetically modified? Some things can be genetically modified, plants, but why? Why do we need to take those measures when the winter provides us with sustainable options? There are squashes, there are berries that grow in the winter. Like, we just have to change our thought process as to what we're consuming during different times of the season. You see these price increases or price hikes, that means something happened. This just doesn't come out of somewhere. So we
Mm,
need to do the research as to why has this increased. Okay, so there's a potential hazard. Let's look on to something that's not as hazardous. We don't. We've, as Americans, become tricked into thinking, oh, this is better or this is good because it's at a lower price or at a reduced price. But I don't want to put something in my body that's on sale because it's old.
mm, 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 mm. So I will be judged greatly by my close knit of friends if I don't ask you this question. So a good number of us are juicers, right? And we're
Mhm.
always curious. Why is it that the healthier the food is, the more
The
expensive
more
it
expensive,
is? Yes, and
there,
I'm gonna throw
there
something
is.
else at
Okay,
you, Jourdan. I'm gonna throw
okay.
something else at you because if I don't ask this, they'll be like, Tosin, you went weak on him. So I'm gonna throw something else at you. So why is it that the healthier it is, the more expensive it is, and tie that to our health. And the reason I'm saying please tie that to our health, we all know that if we eat less processed foods and we eat more naturally grown foods, it is healthier for us. So you would think that we'd be encouraged to be eating that. But then we go to the market and it's like, Father, Lord in heaven, but I can only afford the processed ones. So it's a full throttled question, right? So why X? Why is it that the healthier the food, the more expensive it is? And again, this might be unfair to you. You're a chef. You're not dealing with all those other things. Tie that to our health for us. Thank you.
So you answered your own question in the second part, but I'll expound. Processed foods we know are bad. Why? It goes through the process of taking a whole food down to a packaged or a condensed form. So you're essentially stripping the nutrients from it, packaging it to something else, to a modified thing. Whole foods are cheaper because they're unadulterated. Now, when you take a whole food and you strip it down, like you said, juicing, we're taking whole beets, we're taking whole cucumbers. The process, although it is mitigated by just those steps, there's very little human contact in a juice. It goes from whole food to just juice. The shelf life of a whole food or a whole pressed juice is much shorter than a processed food. So the reason for that rise in cost is because of the turnover. If I can't sell this in 36 hours, I'm losing X, as opposed to this I can keep on the shelf for 6 weeks. I used to juice for a company, and just seeing the spoilage and the turnover of that and the lack of profitability from selling juice goods as opposed to moving on to, a processed juice, the shelf stabilization just lasts. I have more room to make more product, keep more product on the shelves, as opposed to. So that's the real reason. That's not just for juicing. That's from taking any whole food thing into a.
Absolutely. I hate to be the person that sounds despairing, but it sounds like a lose-lose.
It is. It really is. It truly is. If consumers understood how much waste, food waste, not just in your household, but in your neighborhood, and then extrapolate that for blocks and blocks. There's so much food waste because we don't know how to utilize, again, in season. We don't cultivate the sense of community, again, with food. Hey, I have an overabundance of cucumbers this year. Here's some of those. Oh, you have gourds. Oh, I'll take some of those. The sharing and community. There used to be so many local farms. Now everything is in these big box grocery stores. The color of fruits and vegetables used to be so much more vibrant when I was a kid. You could smell the fruit because they were actually deteriorating in the grocery store. They still look good, but they weren't covered or preserved by these waxes that they're using. So you could actually walk into the grocery store and smell melon.
So true.
Yeah. So now there's so many pesticides and so many NHA blockers that are preventing these foods from spoiling. But then you get it home and say, this doesn't taste right. And I just throw it away. Somebody still had to grow it. Something had to grow it.
Yeah. No. Okay. Remember, he said sights, smells, sounds earlier on. And the minute you just described, and many of us travel around the world, and I still travel, and literally the minute you said when you were younger, and the same applies to me, and you'd walk into a market, I'd literally smell the produce.
Yeah.
And you can walk into a market today and you don't smell any.
No, it almost smells sterile, like a office building or something. Like you don't.
Yes. You see, remember I started off by saying I don't like food. And the more we're talking, I'm like, Tosin, you're never eating again in life. Because
food is alive. It vibrates. And there's these molecules in it. And it's supposed to attract us. Or there are things that are supposed to resonate. When we eat something, it is to feed us.
Now I know. Jourdan, you've helped me. So I used to think it was just in my mind and I was just silly. I was just the silly person that does not like food. I really think that it's because of the consistent breaking down of
Yes.
those senses that you're supposed to feel when you're around food that I don't have anymore. I used to, but I don't have anymore. And that might be why I can comfortably say I don't really like food and the process and all the things that go with it anymore, because I don't get to smell and feel the vibrancy of the food like we used to. Have you seen this on social media? So myself and my team, we joke around and say very soon even air is not going to be healthy enough for us to ingest. You've seen you have to have seen these social media posts or memes where they go through all the things we cannot eat anymore, and then somebody says, oh, become a pescatarian, and no, and then you get another report that says, oh no, fish is killing us and that is killing us. So as a chef who has, number one, been in industry for quite a while and has cooked for so many different people, what's your advice for people like me who are going to remain somewhat ignorant with regards to food? What's your advice on what we should be ingesting or paying attention to when it comes to food?
So there are, for me, I tell my clients that I meal prep for and do food nutrition. There's a book called Eat for Your Blood Type. So if you're into that, if you know your blood type, there's a list of things from fruits, veggies, meats, proteins that you can eat for your blood type. We know there are different blood types, and so certain affinities or certain afflictions that people have towards food, your body is protecting you from. Oh no, I don't like that. Look at your blood type. Oh, I'm not supposed to have that. Um, and so that is kind of the bigger thing that I lean towards. But for someone who has aversions to foods, I would say start small. I would try to think back, close your eyes and think back about those things that did make you happy or did make you smile when you were a child, or what things you do resonate to that smells good. And, we eat with our eyes first, but close your eyes and smell. What smells good? Is it the char from the grill? Is it the smoke? Is it, the fresh, crisp, bright, vibrant greens? Like, what are those things? And then you build from that. I always start with raw foods. So, taste this cucumber, taste this carrot, taste this purple carrot, taste this yellow watermelon or this yellow kiwi. You know, you don't like fried chicken. Okay, let's try this roasted turkey. Build up what you do like. And then you can start venturing into the things that are, okay, I'll maybe try that. I've always heard about this, but you know, go out with friends and try to order something different on the menu. Nobody gets the same thing, and kind of just share. Again, this is that community where, oh, I'm
Absolutely.
learning and growing. I've learned that I've liked something else. And
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
have that community that you can share those experiences with.
I've been very selfish. When I heard, oh my gosh, we've got a chef, I literally said, I'm going to ask this chef all my questions about food. And that's exactly what I've done.
It's no problem, no problem. There's not a secret. There are no
Listen,
secrets in
it's,
cooking.
thank you. And it's you and I. So, hey, I'm going to
There
ask you questions that are selfish
you
to
are.
me. But you are on a podcast called I Love My HBCU question mark. So I'm going to bring it back to Bowie for a hot second. Um, I've heard, I do not know her personally. I've met her on numerous occasions, and that is Dr. Bro, President Bro of Bowie State University. I do hear from a lot of people, though, that she is one of the most amazing presidents of a university or a college campus. Um, what would You might be good friends with her. So listen, the question I'm about to ask you, you might have already shared with her. What would you like, as an alum of Bowie State University, what would you like her to know of what Bowie is doing so well right now?
Bowie is and has always been the flame of faith and the torch of truth
This guy
to,
with his words.
to guide the steps of the youth. And again, I hold dear to that. Again, this is our alma mater. And in freshman orientation, I think Bowie does such a great job of allowing incoming freshmen and incoming students to understand that this was built on the back of other students. So the mark and the legacy that you leave is for others. What was left for you is for you, but what you leave is for others. And I think even before I came to Bowie, I saw that. But being an alum and speaking of it, I think that is what the president should know.
Nice. So I'm going to ask you on the flip side. As much as I know, Bowie sounds like that girlfriend of yours that you will always hold high. That listen, I'm so serious. Each time I hear you talk about Bowie again, I don't see it as a place. It's like a person that you just love dearly, and you wish somebody would say something negative about her. Listen. You sound like Bobby to Bowie being Whitney. I'm so serious.
That's my Whitney, and I love Nippy too. So
that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from you. Having said that, also to the leadership and administration, what would you want them to do differently, if anything?
Put the pool back. Give us the pool back. Give us the pool. Give us the pool.
I like how specific that is.
Students
I like
need the
how
pool.
specific that is.
Yes, I'm a Pisces. We need water.
Give me. I love how specific that is.
In all honesty, I think Bowie has always been ahead of the curve. From a technological standpoint.
Okay.
We had one of the first supercomputers. They've always been advanced in the technological space for the students. We had state-of-the-art computer labs. We've always had high-speed internet. We've always had the amenities needed for students, not just in the university, but in our dorms, in our residence halls. Not dorms, residence halls.
I get corrected by that all the time. Yeah, when I went to school, it was a dorm.
Dormitory has a negative connotation. It's a residence hall.
It's a residence hall, okay.
But continue to support and foster the students' needs.
Okay, I like that. It's very student focused. It's very community focused.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna lie. I still like your very first response.
No, the pool. Bring the pool.
Bring the pool back. I really, really like that. I really, really do. You have followed your passion, and it's something that I sincerely appreciate about you. I am somebody who tells my students all the time, follow your passion, but passion never walks alone. And knowing that passion doesn't walk alone, yet you have remained in the exact same space, and by space, I mean industry. What other things did you lean on to make you this extremely successful and committed chef that you are?
My faith, first and foremost. That's just paramount to me. Family has always been a support, but right next to faith is family. And then my friendships, the connections, the support that I have through friends that can lift me up and support me through, because we've either been through similar things or I've been there for them and vice versa. So faith, family, and friendship.
You are a poet, aren't you? Moonlighting as a chef, right?
If you say so, I'll take it. I'll take the charge.
I'm not just saying so. Anybody listening to this is going to be like, okay, Jourdan, excuse me. Where's the book? Where's the poetry book? Like,
I'm an artist. Chef is the title, but I've always been an artist. I've always been an artist.
I love it. I've written down a lot of what you've said, and I'm writing, and I like, he loves alliteration. Earlier on, it was sight, smell, sounds, and now it's faith, family, friendships, and it all works. It's beautiful. But I'm like, he has this thing with the way he's putting his words together that's also going to make it hard for somebody to forget what you said, and that I think is what I really like about it. Repetition of
It's
alliterated
intentional.
words. It's intentional. I'll take it. I'll take it. There's something you said in your response that I want to harp on, especially for students. I appreciate every single guest that comes onto I Love My HBCU. Question mark. How could I not? We would not have this podcast without you. That's number one. But number two, I always say that the collection of this podcast is a love letter to the current HBCU students. And you mentioned interpersonal communication and interpersonal relationships much earlier on when you spoke about why you still went to college, regardless of knowing that you were going to be a chef. And then you just mentioned the friendships. And I want to hop on that for a hot second because, Jourdan, if I asked you to visit my college campus right now and you were a guest in my class and they did not know that you were going to be a guest speaker and you kind of just sat in the back of the auditorium before the class actually started, you won't see too many students talking to each other. You'll see almost every single student on the phone. There we go. Some of them in the dark, head down. And I want them to hear you, when they replay this, I want them to hear you talk about what has kept you through. And it is the interpersonal relationships and it is the friendships. And I hope if they don't take anything else from this particular episode, I hope they take that, because I don't think you're going to find that in that phone that you're burying your noses in. And I'm not against any of us using our phones, but you're not going to get that connection, that community, that family that you speak of in the phone. So I've spoken a lot. You've shared a lot. I'm going to be making sure that we invite you somewhere to cook for us because I want to taste your food and see if I actually will like your food.
We'll see.
But I'm sure there's a lot that I also have not covered. Is there anything that you're like, okay, I knew Tosin was gonna touch on this, and she hasn't?
To your last point, as an educator, if you can find it in your schedule to get the kids, the students, like actually on the yard, just walk around and maybe 10 or 15 minutes just outside of the classroom. So much of the relationships were from people who I never would have crossed paths with. We were in class, or I would see them on the yard, and we would just, there would be a conversation, and you just kind of join in the conversation and you share. We had phones back when I was in school. I'm not too far removed. We had Nextels, but those relationships are fostered again outside the classroom, just sparking up conversation. It wasn't hard. It became easier the more you did it. And again, I came from such a small campus that everything was family after the first week. And then it just continues to grow and grow. As far as like, what didn't you cover? I mean, this was fun.
We hit everything. I love it. Okay. Okay. So end this episode for me, please. Leave our audience with one parting word or short phrase on why I really have not called him Jourdan once. Jourdan A. Davis loves HBCUs.
I do love HBCUs. If I could leave anything, BSU.
BSU. Got it. I'll take it. Jourdan Davis, it has been my pleasure having this conversation with you. I'm not kidding. I am going to take you up. We're neighbors. So I'm going to take you up on at least tasting your food at least
That's
once.
That's
And I'm
easy.
going to be honest about how I think about it.
Please do.
He's like, please do, please do. I'm sure I'm gonna like it. You look like somebody that cooks with love. You literally look like somebody that cooks with love. And I don't think it's possible not to like your food. Oh, I love the hearts. It is impossible not to like the food when somebody cooks with love. To everybody hearing the sound of my voice, to those who have enjoyed, it is actually impossible not to enjoy this particular episode because of Jourdan A. Davis. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like this episode. Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. Mr. Davis, Chef Davis, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tosin.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst, of course, holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.